Marriage is an institution where two parties are very much equally responsible for their marriage to be carried forward. So now in many circumstances we see that women suffer from domestic violence at their household, and in today's world men also are victims of domestic violence. So now how we can distinguish that the violence of a man or a violence that is being suffered by a woman is on equal footing? So in India, according to many statistics, it is seen that it is considered to be unsafe for women, especially in India, in the marriage institution, because many cases that those have been reported have seen that women go through emotional abuse, physical abuse, and economic abuse. So these are the facts which we cannot deny. But in today's world, in many scenarios, we see that men who take the responsibility of the family is also hampered and is also suffering from emotional abuse, economic abuse, and even in some certain circumstances, physical abuse. But the Domestic Violence Act, which is there in India, it only protects the women of our society. But the men, they also have their rights to be protected, but there has to be a different set of rules or different law has to be established in order to prove and establish that there is crime going on against men. But it is undeniable fact that men do suffer from emotional abuse and physical abuse at the home. But now we on the purpose of me making this video is to talk about the violations that take place against women. Women are suffering from emotional abuse. This is one of the most important kind of an abuse which is more harmful than physical abuse. We have seen that most women in the Indian households do suffer from certain different kind of abuses on day-to-day life, but most of the cases go unreported. And this is one of the reason which where the cases, the statistics that had to be there is not to be found on, as the groundwork is not being done by a woman, or she is unable to go before the judicial system in order to seek help. But how to identify that a woman is suffering from an emotional abuse or physical abuse or is going under emotional abuse if she herself cannot identify the problem that is happening or occurring with her? How can she take a stand in that regard? So here a woman has to have that particular education, and our society also has the responsibility to make and support the women of the society, help them to come forward and empower themselves and to take a stand for themselves. So then equally they will be able to understand their own stand and the stand of their spouse. So in many conditions, many women are very much emotionally vulnerable, they are physically vulnerable, and they are also economically vulnerable. So they tend to fall into the trap and they are being manipulated. And this is one of the main reason which arises and results into domestic violation. So in many circumstances we also seen that alcohol and other substances, they also lead to domestic violences. These substances, a woman who marries a person who is who is actually into alcohol and substance abuse, they tend to fall into the trap of domestic violence on a very easy situation. Any very small quarrel in the family, they directly will be hit or will succumb to an emotional abuse. and later on resulting into an economic abuse. So with children, they are unable to go somewhere and they are unable to work outside. It creates a kind of a traumatic situation for the woman and later on for the child itself. So there is a vicious circle, and in order to protect a woman, the society must also intervene into, society also has a role to be played. Society can intervene into any kind of an abuse or any kind of a situation that is arising against a woman, because educating a woman and educating a girl is also bringing forward the society. So we as a societal members, we should also take care of all these situations, and we should also speak up about with any of the family members who is into physical violence with his or her spouse, and the other members should also take some stand in that regard. If the other members who are there in the family and they keep quiet and they also do not report regarding the violence, they are also giving a legitimacy to the violence, or also giving the perpetrator a chance to do or commit a crime again and again. So there must be a voice in the family who should try to identify the situation or identify the problem and try to minimize the violence or try to protect the victim, who may be either a man or a woman. So that if there is a child or if there is somebody who is elderly parents or younger children, they should not suffer from the abuses that are going on in the home. If there is a substance abuse, or there are other institutions which will actually be providing care, and rehabilitation kind of centers are there, so you may go and take help from those centers in order to curb the all the different kind of situations. So if we have to deliberately celebrate Women's Day, we also have to celebrate and respect what men want, and we also have to respect, the men also has to respect what a woman actually needs. So if both the parties do take care of each other, then probably the crime, the domestic violence crimes, they will come down. But the foremost thing that is required is understanding, education and empathy towards each other. So this plays in every situation, in every crime that takes place. So we have also seen there are many crimes in today's world which are very much heinous and which are unthinkable, and they are very much out of the box kind of crimes, which actually, after knowing the public, they also have different kind of thought process. So this also hampers the society overall. So in order to curb this menace, we as society members, despite of our gender, we have to take action, and we have to speak about this domestic violence that goes on, and that should be stopped. So wish you all a very happy Women's Day, International Women's Day. So hope that you will stand for yourself, you will understand your situation and try to fight yourself and make and identify the problems that you are facing. That is the first solution that you can do in order to help yourself.